All right. Hey guys, sorry I'm a little late. I'm even later than I said I would be. It's a few minutes after 6. We usually do this at 5, but I rushed over here as quick as I could. We were delayed because today we went and actually bought our first car. That's kind of I've never owned a car in my entire life, but I finally got to the breaking point and have decided to get a car for practical reasons, but also like honestly just a little bit of fun. Being kind of like cooped up here in Brooklyn, figured with a car we can go camping, like family trips more easily, and then also there's a lot of skate parks around the town that are around the city that are just out of reach. Even on a city bike, they're like off the city bike grid. So we were at the dealership and just drove home in our new car. I know it sounds like a commercial or something, but it's this car we actually drove last year when we went to the Grand Canyon, and we went around. We did like a little road trip in Arizona and checked out Sedona and went camping in both those spots and had this car. It's a compact SUV, and then we just had it again last week. New York State campgrounds have opened, so we the fam and I went for 3 nights out to the Finger Lakes region. Never checked that spot out. It was pretty cool. Actually, it was quite gorgeous. That's what they always say. It was like right outside Ithaca, and I know growing up I always saw that bumper sticker that says Ithaca is gorgeous, and now I know why. Let me show you guys a couple of pictures. I think the way I'm going to show this, let me just pull it up on my personal Instagram, which is okbana, OKBANA, because I kind of just put a nice little slideshow there. The first one is this place called Watkins Glen, and it's as crazy as it looks in the picture. Oh, whoops, I swiped the wrong way. I gotta swipe this way. Okay, that's the picture there. Wait, am I just not doing this right? I'm not doing this right with the mirror. Okay. Yeah, check this out. It's pretty rad, right? These are gorgeous. That was Watkins Glen. About a mile and a half of just like different views everywhere you went. It was pretty wild. Let me do some bonus YouTube content and maybe show you a quick video to give you another taste of that spot. What's a good one? Maybe, I don't know what I'm going to show you. Maybe this one's cool. All right, check it out. Nice, right? That's my daughter. Yeah. Pretty cool stuff. Should check that out. Let me go. Actually, I just got to SKATEYOGI in that excitement, and I might not have locked the door, so I'm gonna lock the door. Make sure that the door is locked. Oh, the door is locked. You guys ever do that when you think that? Sometimes I skate away from the shop and I can't remember if I locked the door, and I always have, but I just never know. All right, so welcome to Live at SKATEYOGI with Kevin. I'm your host today. Welcome and thank you for tuning in, or if you're watching this afterwards, please let me give you guys a little sneak peek of what's in store for today's show. I have a list of questions that we were doing some of the questions from Quora last week. I thought that was really fun. I'm going to continue some of those questions. There's going to be random chit chat, whatever comes up or pops into my brain. Of course, any questions you guys have, you can type it in the chat. If there's anyone out there, I think I see some people on. So, hello. Let me say, hello, people. if you've got any questions about skateboarding or anything, we can try to answer that for you. And then once I get tired of sitting and answering questions, I'm going to do a little bit of trick tips on this mini quarter pipe we have in the back. Now, it's not really a quarter pipe. This is, oh, sorry, it's dusty. I've been cleaning in here. This right here is our micro mini ramp. So it's 2 feet high. It's really small for a half pipe, but we find it's like a really good introductory, kind of give you a half pipe, you go back and forth. But if you see from the side, even though it's 2 feet high, it's actually, it's pretty steep. Let me get the right angle there. Yeah, like right about there. You see that? It's almost a 60-degree angle pointing up there. That's 60 degrees? Maybe more like 45, but it's pretty steep. In comparison, we have this, and it's 2 feet to the coping. In comparison, we have this ramp in the back, which is 18 inches to the coping. And besides it only being 18 inches, it also is much, wait, let me show you, much mellower. See that? Oh, there we go. That's a good angle. It's a much mellower transition. So when you're talking about transitions, which are any kind of curved ramp, it's usually you need to know the height, but also the radius, which is how, you know, if you drew a big circle, it would be that chunk of the circle that is the side of the ramp. That was probably confusing, but let me describe this better. So this is a 2-foot ramp at about a 45-degree angle or so. If that kept going up, the point where it becomes vertical would be the height. And if you remember your geometry, that would be a radius. This is probably about a 5-foot radius. So at about 5 feet, this would be a vertical ramp. This ramp right here, I've been told, is a 10-foot radius. So you would have to continue this ramp until it got to 10 feet for it to be a vertical ramp. So you can see that it's a much mellower transition. It's almost flat. And to be honest, this really isn't a quarter pipe. We just kind of, we just kind of pretend. I'm going to do this and kind of just like, we just kind of pretend that it's a quarter pipe. It's really more of a launch ramp, like it's designed for getting a lot of speed and launching off that way. But you can see that it has a little bit of coping on the top. That the coping is that metal part. It's really almost just like this kind of cap at the top instead of the round pipe that the other one has as a coping. So it's nice to kind of like get your beginning tricks like, what is it? Rock to fakies and things where you're not going to really hang up. Today, I'm going to show you axle stalls. I like to show axle stalls on this. And then maybe we'll go from an axle stall, and I'll show you a little trick that I learned early on. Axle to tail, back axle to tail. And in the beginning, I kind of did it as a crutch. And now it's kind of a fun little, it's like a stepping stone towards a backside tail stall, but you can kind of do it in 2 steps. And I think it's a really fun ramp. And in some ways, I feel like it's easier in the beginning to get out of an axle to tail than to come right back in from axle. I don't know if that makes sense. For me, it did. So we'll do that in a little bit. But before I get into the questions, I just want to say, let's see. It's a little warm in here because I didn't realize, yesterday I took out the filters for the air conditioning system. That's that thing. Where is it? Can you see it? Where is it? Oh, you can't see it. Oh, duh. That's the other wall. This wall. That's that thing right there. You see how the filters are out? And also over there in the ladders right there. So we're getting ready for summer camp. We're doing a heavy cleaning. As you can see, we're sorting through our skateboard collection. We're refurbishing some. We had some like nicer decks where some of them have gotten pretty cracked up or broken. We swapped those out. Actually, Emilio did that this weekend, so that was awfully nice of him. Did some service. And we're going to be putting some away because really the idea for summer camp is we're going into like a Zen mode. So we're going to get rid of a lot of the clutter. We used to have usually like a lot of skateboards laying around for people to try and share all kinds of stuff. And unfortunately this summer sharing is not caring. And we're going to have like a little meme cat that says like, don't touch my stuff. And basically you just keep your stuff to yourself. So we're going to put away all the extra boards and just have it be like a really kind of clean space, which will be nice. It'll be easy to clean daily, which we're going to do. And we're actually going to put away all these pads, and each one of those bins is going to be like a different camper's bin, and they'll leave their pads in their bin, which will get sprayed with our favorite. Guys, if you ever have pads of your own and you need to give them a little something, we found this works the best, and I'm not getting any ad revenue from that. Oh. Nice. Oh, I wanted to do summer camp, but I couldn't, so I just got into that. Urban Shredders. Oh, cool, Leah. All right, awesome. No, that's actually pretty sweet. The Urban Shredders is a good program. Do you have you skated before? Like you're comfortable on a skateboard? You can type that back in the chat. That's really the only requirement. You don't have to know like all the cool tricks and stuff. But the Urban Shredders is for campers that have like skated before. And it's based out of Golconda Skate Park. Oh, awesome. All right, cool. No, it's really, the teachers really love that one. The one here is cool too, because we have the space, but Golconda is actually much bigger. And so it's nice. And you're going to be able to go skate there every day as your home base, and then also go on like street missions and stuff. So that'll be fun. For the Urban Shredders, because you guys are outside more often, it won't be, there won't be as many kind of, I don't want to say restrictions, but like here at SKATEYOGI, we can't let any parents or anyone else come in besides the campers and teachers. And like I said before, we're kind of keeping things minimal. Wow, this place looks really banged up because we just got a big order of pads in, and you can see the decks still have some. It's been tough with COVID to get skate goods, but they're starting to come back little by little. So we got some things on the wall. This wall would usually have 30 complete skateboards on it. Right now we have 10. So, but we've got new trucks coming. This is a bunch of new pads. We're getting a few more, what else? Like bearings and wheels and stuff. So yeah, it's coming in. It'll be good. And that starts on Monday. So we're excited about that. For both camps start up on Monday. And we're looking forward to that. All right, let me get a comfy spot. Oh yeah, and if anyone is just joining us, I mentioned before, this is a live Q&A. I've got some questions that I'm going to just answer just to kind of like get it started. But if anyone has questions of their own, don't hesitate to ask. We'll be answering those questions. Oh, there's someone at the door. Yeah, they're just taking a look in here. But let me see, where should I put you guys? Here, I'm gonna put you here. All right, I like this spot, it's comfy. You right now are in the back area. We call this the flat ground area. Oh, one more quick announcement before I forget, because I love to talk about noteworthy and newsworthy items. Emilio and I just the other day on Sunday brought our bump ramp over to the park nearby. So let me show you a picture of it. That's what it looks like. That's right on our Instagram, the SKATEYOGI Instagram. So you can see this ramp right here. It looks like the perfect size for the space where it is now. We used to have that in SKATEYOGI, but it was actually kind of big. It took up this whole lane. Like if people were skating by, we would have to put it there and it would take up that whole lane. So it was fun for a while. We kind of got our kicks out of it. We've had it for about a year. And then we decided, like, one, it was taking up some space, and two, hey, maybe it would be fun because people have been skating that Jackie Robinson playground a little more lately with the shutdown and all. People have been bringing some objects. there. So me and Emilio put it on the cart and rolled it over there. And I like the next day I saw a post of someone actually like roller skating on it and having fun. So it was really cool to see it go to immediate use. We're thinking kind of like if that goes well and it doesn't get destroyed immediately and it kind of sticks around, I think we're going to bring another ramp to SKATEYOGI. And just to give you an idea, before we had this half pipe here, we actually just had 2 quarter pipes back there that looked like, not like this one, which isn't really a quarter pipe. It's kind of a junior quarter pipe. It was more like this one, which is like a 3-foot quarter pipe. Still that 10-foot radius, so it's kind of mellow. But it's the same like Fresh Park brand where it's hard. I'm using a computer, but you see that? It's like a hard like urethane, and then underneath it's like steel. So it's actually weatherproof, pretty much weatherproof. And when we put the mini ramp in, we had to take down the 2 that we already had. And right now they're just hiding under the ramp and they're not doing anything. So if all goes well, we'll bring those and maybe donate those to Jackie Robinson as well. So that like park will have more of like a multi-sports use. I'm going to try to put them where they don't really like, maybe on the side of the basketball court, so it's not really getting in the way, but you know, everyone can kind of like have fun together harmoniously, and like the community can have it and have fun, and that should be great. Cool. So if you're in the area, check it out, Jackie Robinson Playground, or you can go to our Instagram, and we actually tagged the location on Instagram. It's right around the corner from SKATEYOGI, so it's not too far from the space here. All right. So check that out. Hopefully, have a little bit of a, we did some skating on it. That's Emilio wearing his mask like a responsible citizen. This is a kickflip. It's nice. And then I did a bean plant. A little sketchy, but I like this line because I'm kind of getting surfy here and showing the layout. Got a hippie jump going there, and then I circle back for this bent over Jersey barrier, and I got a front board slide. We were trying all kinds of tricks, but that was my favorite one. And then these are all just kind of the victory lap tricks. When you do your line, you do a couple tricks afterwards. At least that's how I was raised. You don't just do a line with like 1 or 2 tricks. You got to keep it going if you can. So that was right. That was there. Cool. I wish I could show you a picture of our new car. All right, let's get on to questions. Oh, cool. All right, thanks, Leah. All right, so these are questions just to kind of set it up. These are questions we found on Quora, which is a website where people ask questions and then answer questions. I don't use it a whole lot, but sometimes I will go on there. My partner, she goes on there a lot, and she actually answers questions or asks questions. Wait, she asks questions or answers questions? She does both. But we pulled a few from there, and it's just that it's fun. It's fun to answer questions, and I'm going to answer them in order. So I'm not picking the answers based on the ones I like. I'm going to answer them all, and I commit to that. So I got the one at the very top, and it says, when is a safe age for children to start skateboarding? I think a safe age for children to start skateboarding would probably be around the time they're first starting to crawl, and you could just stick them on a skateboard, and then they can just kind of like boogie board around the living room. I think the safety part of the question makes me wonder, like, safe age. Like, I don't think there's an unsafe age for children to start skateboarding, but you should probably stick to age-appropriate skate activities. Like here at SKATEYOGI, we actually have a class for skate tots, and it's ages 2 to 3. And I'll tell you how we do that, and we do it safely. With the skate tots class, we don't give them all skateboards and just say, go skate all at the same time. What we do instead is we take that like class as more of a an opportunity for the kids to learn how to socialize, which is a part of skateboarding and any other group activity. So we start in a circle, and they don't even get skateboards right away. We're starting in a circle. We do some kind of group activity. We warm up. I might show them like parts of a skateboard, or read a book. And then what we'll do is we'll try to maybe do one thing as a group challenge. And sometimes it doesn't even involve a skateboard. It might be like running over like a bar or an obstacle course. And then we take out the skateboards, and we have 2 teachers, and we have 1 skateboard per teacher. So it's one-on-one for short periods of time with the kids, and they're doing just stuff that's very like heavily assisted. But we found like even in that class from age 2 to like your older 3s, there's like a huge difference where like a 2-year-old, it's really just like maybe plopping them on the board and like holding their hands and giving them a little challenge on their own balance. And just like experiencing that with a 3-year-old that's kind of going on 4, as they're going back and forth on the half pipe, you can start to kind of let go of their hands. They have a very natural balance. I think that sometimes what we might take for granted is that a lot of the kind of like physical aspect of riding a skateboard or doing any kind of physical activity is very intuitive and natural. And so what the benefit you have with the younger students, I would say up until about the age of 5 or 6, is they don't have a lot of fear, maybe, or some don't, and they just do things naturally. Or they're not like, I wouldn't say they don't have fear, but they're not overthinking it. They're really going more from feeling, and they just sense things. So you'll see kids a lot of times immediately get the idea of bending their knees to get low without even being told. They realize that's going to be a safe place to be. So if they feel a bit unstable, sometimes they're like comically low. So yeah, I guess to summarize, like a safe age for children to start skateboarding, I would say start them as young as they're interested, and then you can kind of gradually like ease off on the help. And by the time they're like 4 or 5, they could probably start to do some skating on their own. Maybe not crazy tricks or something, but they're able to push around. Okay. So I'm ending that question, and then I just got a question pop up, which I'm going to answer immediately. So we've got a question from Leah, and she's asking, what's some skate park etiquette I want to learn so I can go to a skate park? Okay, this is a great question, and I guess you're going to learn this in Urban Shredders. It's something we definitely emphasize, but like even before that, it's good to know. So I'm going to give you kind of like our spiel on skate park etiquette, things that are good to know and whatnot. Even before etiquette, I would say one thing I recommend, especially if you're going to a park for the first time, is to go when it's not at its busiest time. So usually in the morning hours, like even sometimes as late as like 10 o'clock, it's still okay before everyone starts to get there, just so you can kind of get a feel for the layout of the skate park without having to like worry about the extra obstacles and whatnot. So, there's different parks, and some parks are easier to navigate than others. But one thing that's important to know about skate park etiquette is basically the traffic pattern is really important. So when you go to a skate park, you're gonna maybe like observe for a minute and notice that there are parts, like kind of starting points along the way. So maybe it's on the edge where there's a little bit of a run-up space where you can jump on your board, or on the top of a ramp. And then there's these areas where people are kind of waiting their turn. And basically you don't have to like wait forever, but just kind of like the rule of thumb is you don't want to snake, which is when you just keep taking turns over and over again. So if you're skating like the same kind of general area, so you can kind of like quickly see like, all right, if someone starts from this corner and the traffic tends to go back and forth, and those are the runs, and you can notice that there's 4 people in that area, then you should roughly be taking a turn, every 4th turn is about yours. It's not like perfect like that, but just know that you want to find your starting points and kind of just go and skate. And then the idea is you go and skate, as long as you're not like cutting anyone off, like you want to be mindful of everyone around you, but you skate around until you either are done with your run, or if you fall off your board, or you just like don't land your trick, what you do at that point is try to go to the nearest starting point. So the idea is this like group harmony where you're trying to keep the flow going. So you don't want to just go into the middle of the park and just practice something, or kind of like you wouldn't like sit on a ramp in the middle, but sometimes we have to tell kids not to do that just because you're obstructing the flow of the park. So that's you know, kind of one really important piece of etiquette is just kind of watching out for the flow. And it might mean like anticipating where someone might be coming. So even if you're skating something in one direction, you might need to look the other way, because sometimes ramps can be skated in more than one direction and someone might be coming really fast. So just kind of like, that's how it helps to like observe. But I think the more, I still get like nervous the first time I go to a park and I don't know the lines, I gotta like kind of feel it out. So I like to go early if I can, but if not, maybe I'll like, I feel like I'll kind of like try to, you know, stick to one thing and kind of get my momentum up and then kind of work around from that. And then also, you know, if the park is a little emptier, sometimes I would say, like, just as a recommendation, just to skate around the park. Maybe don't try your hardest tricks and just get like a nice warm-up run. So that's helpful to know the traffic patterns. As far as like, you know, if someone's like, you can say hi to people. People look approachable. You can say hi to them. You can, you know, snap your board. It's kind of funny, like skateboarders sometimes like look really distant and kind of like they're doing their own thing, but you know, sometimes just like making a comment or something helps break the ice. You know, especially if you see someone that's like kind of at the same level or whatever that you can kind of like relate to. So that's skate park etiquette. Is there anything else? Oh, if your board shoots out from you, like sometimes that'll happen. It's customary to yell board just so people know that there's a board on the loose, and they'll do the same thing. Nice. Ali, and now I'm working on my shuv-its. Oh, great. Thanks for asking me about shuv-its. Leah, if you stay tuned, I will do shuv-its in my little trick tip section, which I'll do in a bit. Was it like a week or two ago? No, it was 2 weeks ago because I didn't do this last week. I was demonstrating an ollie and I broke my board. So I would much rather demonstrate a shove-it. I love shove-its. Like do every variation. They're really fun. Awesome. Yeah, cool. So that's an intro to skate park etiquette. I hope that was helpful. Let me say, maybe now is actually a good time to do shove-its. You know what? Oh, you were there. Okay. Yeah. But, oh, hey, so I got a new board. Let me show you guys. I got this new board. It's a 5-borough. They're a local company. This is the Brooklyn Love one. And then I put up Black Lives Matter on the top. I was in some skate protests about 2 weeks ago. So I did that for that. And oh, I never put the headphones in. You guys can hear me though, right? Maybe I should put my headphones in. That's nice. I like how the top is the bottom is red and pink, and then I did the pink. I had the pink spray paint, and I just did like a negative stencil on that. And then I've got that one, the cat yawning, and then the cat doing yoga. You can hear. All right, let me see if this works. Just because I'm gonna start skating. All right, and it has a microphone, so if I'm away from the computer, that might help. All right. So with shove-its, let me see. Maybe I'm gonna do it like this. So for a regular shove-it, you want to have, I'm going to use my hands first. I'm going to do it like this. Okay, cool. For a regular shove-it, I'm going to stand with my back foot with my toes kind of pointing over a little bit like this. and my front foot maybe with my heel a little bit too. And then the trick to a shove it really in the beginning, you don't have to do a pop shove it. A pop shove it is when you kick the tail and you get up into the air and make it go up. You really just, like, the easier shove it is just going to be a straight shove it that doesn't pop. So your tail actually never hits the ground. It pushes down a little bit, but it's the side scoop motion like that. So if you think about it, you're kind of like pressing down and then using this corner right here to come back like really quickly. A lot of times what I'll do is look at my back bolts, and as I'm scooping, I'll imagine this arc, this 180-degree arc, because I'm going to land it with my front foot. So when you do a shove it, it's better to land with your front foot. Let me see. This is kind of interesting. Usually I have like a wide angle or something. Oh, maybe I can go like this. That's pretty good. Oh yeah, yeah. All right. So this is kind of like the close view. So I'm here. I have my toes hanging off a little bit, and then I'm going to push down on the tail and scoop back. Let me just do one warm up here. So. The trick to it is probably, I think sometimes what people do when they shove it, and then, like, once you start to get the hang of it, you'll probably do the back foot step off. It'll look like this. Or let me try that a little bit more. It's going to look like this maybe. See how my back foot ended here? And the reason that's happening is because like that would happen if you were afraid to land on it, like you're hesitating. Not afraid, you're just hesitating. And your back foot goes back, but it goes down right away. So you want to think of, like, when you're scooping back, that it's not just your back foot like pushing back, but you're also pulling your leg up and back. So you're kind of doing this motion. Like, it's hard to even see. Here, let me do it in slow motion. So my back foot goes back here, right? Like if I was doing the trick, my back foot sweeps back. And if your back foot goes down right away, you're probably sweeping it back and then stepping down. But what you need to do is think about sweeping it back and then pulling your foot up and bringing it back like this. So maybe I'll do it. I love shove-its. Shove-its are great because it's like you either land them or you don't. I think I don't know if I said this last week, but when you do ollies, it's like frustrating because even when you learn how to ollie, you're starting with like this and then it gets a little bigger or it's sloppy. With a shove-it, you kind of either land it or you don't. Of course, you can do some that are like, better than others slightly, but I think there's less of a range. And then there's a lot of variations in shove-its because, you can do it on your tail, but you can also do them on your nose. You can go backwards. You can go forward on your nose. And you can go backwards on your tail. So there's four different shove-its there. And then you can add front side into it. So all the ones I just did, all four of those variations, were all the same direction where your back foot or whichever foot you're scooping with, the toes hang off, and you pull in the direction of your heel. But you can also do a shove-it. Oh, no, I guess I did some front sides in there too. Yeah. But you can also do a shove-it in the other direction where you kind of, instead of hanging your toes off, you might actually put it the opposite way. And then you push down and push your back foot or the scooping foot in the direction of your toes, like that. And then this. Oh, that was kind of funny. Yeah. So those are your shuv-its. If you're watching this and you really have never tried a shove-it, sometimes what we do is take a board that doesn't even have wheels, and so you can try that trick on a, on a carpet or any kind of like surface and just kind of get the hang of it. But even if you have a board, with wheels, it's a nice trick to try. And then what's my last tip for shove-its? Okay, my last tip for shove-its is when I first started learning shove-its, the first moving shove-it that I got consistently was a fakie shove-it. And the reason for that is, and it's not uncommon, when you're going fakie, your back foot is in the front. So when you push down, you're actually scooping on the wheels that are heading forward. So the board has to overcome less resistance. When you're doing a regular shove-it, you almost have to like skid your wheels or do it really quick. So even though it's more normal because you're heading regular, it's a little bit more of a quick movement. Where a fakie shove-it, it's, even though it's going backwards and it's a little trickier in that sense, sometimes it's easier to land and do because it's easier to flick when you're going backwards. So I hope that makes sense. But yeah, shove-its are fun. All right. I'm going to answer another question. Let's see. How's everyone doing out there? I want to figure out how to use my phone for this so I can actually put like, I don't know, I was doing virtual lessons last month and the month before, and I was doing it on my phone, and I would use like a wide angle adapter and a small tripod, and it was really cool. We would set it up, like I would literally set up that system like right here. And this student of mine was in Texas, and he would be next to a curb in Texas, and we would be having a virtual session with him on his curb and me on this box right here, kind of simulating the same thing. It worked pretty cool. So that was, let's see. Oh, this question reminds me of a question I got. Okay. This is a real life question. We actually got this question submitted to us via a message on Instagram. Let's see, where is it? Where did it go? Here it is. All right. Someone wrote us saying, trying to get on their board after twisting their ankle in August, last August, I guess. It hurts after skating, but it's tolerable. Last night, I went for a cruise, and now the other ankle hurts. At this point, I don't know what to do because all I want to do is skate, and I've been abstaining from it for so long, and I don't know what to do anymore for there to be no pain. Any advice? They gave us some advice, or they asked for some advice, and now this is a common problem that skateboarders face, like ankle pain or injuries is just a part of our life because it's the thing that's closest to the skateboard. So I replied back, thanks for the message. We can all relate to ankle pain from skateboarding. And then I recommended, if this is the case, like with anything too, like with an injury or a pain, if you're coming back from an injury, it's best to respect that and kind of treat it like you need to recover and kind of re-strengthen. And so if you're going to skate, maybe just skate for a little bit. Like don't wait until it hurts. Skate a little bit and then see how you feel the next day. And then if you want to like increase that, it's the same thing with like strength training or running or anything else. You do that, but then you also want to do it in combination with, so you're strengthening and you're stretching. The yogi part comes, it's not just a coincidence. Like for me, yoga has always been a really good complement to skateboarding, both like mentally, I think they're analogs, but also the physical aspect of it. And where like skateboarding can sometimes be like quick and intense and kind of like, I mean, you get yourself into that zone. With yoga, the way it's practiced here, it's like more of the flow, and you're kind of like, the two exercises are very like yin and yang, and help out a lot. With that said, you have to stretch. It helps. Yeah, when you're young, I'll be honest, I didn't start stretching until I was a little older. Sometimes, like, I know Tony Hawk had used to say, like, he didn't really stretch. He would just do like a warm-up run. Like, maybe I would give advice to, like, if you're not stretching, to kind of warm up to it, like you just skate a little bit and get like loosened up, like dynamic stretching, which is where you're not like holding a pose, but you're kind of like moving, is definitely going to be a helpful thing. We do that before our classes here. I think it's just a good habit to be in, even if it's just like a little thing. But if you're not into like trying to stretch out every time you go skate, I would just say kind of like take it easy. Especially for the older skaters, like the older you get, like skateboarding does take its toll. So it's not as forgiving. If I fall a certain way nowadays, I might feel that still like 3 or 4 days later, where like when I was younger, I would jump down, like an 8 stair and then slam, and then half an hour later I would feel fine. So it's all relative. For kind of like a little more advice I gave, for acute pain, so like for pain that's like right there, like it's something that just happened, ice really helps, like ice or ice baths. I haven't done it a whole lot for myself, honestly, for skateboarding, but I was doing that a lot last year when I was getting into running, like a lot. Like when I would do a really heavy run, I would like jump into an ice bath, and now you're starting to see skateboarders do this kind of stuff. And then kind of like for more chronic, like long-term, like pain and discomfort, like just every now and then, like a hot Epsom salt bath is really nice. That I find is like a nice thing, like when you can treat yourself to that. Or like if you've got muscle injury or bruising, arnica is like a natural homeopathic remedy that helps for that. So that's my 2 cents. And I also dropped an Instagram account for her to check out, Dr. Kyle Brown. It's at Dr. Brown, all is one word. He's a physical therapist, but he's also a skateboarder. So I think he specializes in skateboard physical therapy, prehab and rehab. So prehab is injury prevention, or kind of like trying to, like if you stretch out your ligaments, then if you stretch them as in a accident, or like when you fall, that might not hurt. And then rehab, which is where the injury occurs, and then you're trying to get yourself back. He does that stuff. So check him out if you're interested in that. I follow him, and I like to see his exercises, and he has pro skaters doing like quick warm-ups at the skate park that incorporate skateboards, and it seems pretty easy, and they're legit. So you could check that out. So that was a real life SKATEYOGI example of a question we got. So I was happy to answer that one. And maybe I'll do, I'm going to do one more question from the Quora list. Sorry, I'm like stink at multitasking. I'm trying to look at that while I'm talking to you guys. All right. So that was like, someone asked, is skateboarding good exercise? And kind of like to continue on that, is skateboarding good exercise? I would say absolutely. Especially if you're doing it all day. I think when I was younger and I had to just all day to skate, the cardiovascular and just like all of the strength that's required, I think it's great. I think that on its own, it might not be like a comprehensive exercise. So if you're just skating every now and then, I think that it's a little bit more like, without knowing for sure, I would be prone to say that skateboarding gives you an uneven distribution of like impact and like, sorry, I'm just gonna say this in another way. So I think like in skateboarding, you're really like exercising your extremities much more, maybe even than your core. For in particular, your legs are going to become really strong through skateboarding because you're powering and you're constantly positioning yourself on your legs. Your arms maybe not so much because they're just swinging around, like you use them a little bit for balance. So I think it would probably be a good idea if you were like interested. If you're asking the question, is skateboarding good exercise? I would probably say yes, but like in a mix of like cross training things that you're looking to do. You know, like I said, like yoga I think is really great. I was really getting into running last year, and that was fun. Yeah, there's probably like other things you can do that are good too. How viable is skateboarding for transportation? Very viable, I think. I mean, probably depends where you live, but I think if you live in a city environment, a skateboard is a great way of, so I always find that a skateboard is a great way of getting around neighborhoods or even maybe from one neighborhood to the next. But if you're trying to travel from like borough to borough, it's going to be a lot harder and probably not realistic to like skate on a regular basis from Brooklyn to Manhattan as transportation, like someone say as transportation. Nice. All right, I'll get to that question in a second. That's a good one. So yeah, I would say for transportation in the city, like it's great for like running errands, like getting around. And also it's a great, I find like it's a great supplement to public transportation. So if you have a Metro card and a skateboard, that's going to be really great. What I've recently discovered in the last few years is the city bike and bike share programs. And I think that could be really great if you're skating around and you have a city bike. So I might actually take my city bike. Here's a perfect itinerary for you. We're down in Prospect Lefferts Gardens, right? I'll take my city bike, put a skateboard in it, and go up to Bushwick, where there's like cool skate parks, and multiple ones. So I park the bike, ditch it, and then I'm skating all around there. And then wherever I end up, I could either hop on a bus, a city bike, a subway, wherever. It's like more spontaneous than, maybe even more spontaneous than like having your own bike or for transportation, but I don't know. I've had my own bike before too. Cool. How do you build, so Leah asks, how do you build confidence like for stairs and rails? I think one way of building confidence is by taking it step by step. And, you know, like stairs are a great example. With stairs, you start with the curb, and then you go from a curb to like a bigger curb or like a little drop off, and you just get comfortable jumping off of it repetitively over and over and over again. And then you can start to add stairs. I remember like when I was starting skating, that was the whole thing, was like, how many stairs can I do? And I don't do it anymore because I just don't want to like take the risk. But I used to just like try to do like, you know, we had one right near my house that was like a 2.5 stair. So we would skate that a lot. And then we would look for a 3 stair or a 4 stair, 5 stair. But we didn't go to that 5 or the 6. I remember the 6 stair was always like a big, like never got comfortable. I would always like jump down that and have like this, like kind of, yeah. So the confidence for the 6 stair came from doing the others over and over again. But also, I have to definitely mention this. Part of the confidence, I think, comes from having a group of skateboarders that know you well and that you skate with on a regular basis, that know what you're capable of if you can kind of like apply yourself. I can't count the number of times I've been somewhere and a friend of mine has said, hey, Kevin, why don't you try this? I bet you can do it. Like, and just hearing that and them being there with you, I think really helps, especially if you're talking about moves that like the ones you mentioned here, like stairs and rails, are both like more of on the high risk side. So when I slid my first like proper handrail, which actually was that 6 stair, and it had a handrail. I was mentally prepared for it. I thought I could do it, but it took like having a friend there to help give me that courage and just kind of like that group energy was really important. And the rational side of confidence too comes from knowing, you know, maybe what would happen if things didn't go well. So on all of those other attempts, the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5 stair, you learn how to fall. You might primo, where you land with your board here, or you might roll your ankle or do these different things. And it's kind of like the confidence comes from seeing what could happen. So that's why no friends to skate. That's tough, yeah, because it's harder to go skate by yourself and really push yourself. You could definitely learn, but I think it's really helpful to have a group to be in. Sometimes you don't have to have like, okay, I have no friends that skate. If you have a skate park that you live nearby and you go there on a regular basis, you'll start, like, maybe it won't be the first or the second or the third time you're there, but you'll start to see familiar faces. Those are the regulars. And, you know, they'll start to notice you, and you'll start to form a mutual respect. And even if it's just a head nod or a tap, you can kind of become a part of the community. Skateboarding is really like, I don't want to say it's like super welcome. It is. It's very welcoming, but like it takes some time. You got to, like, you know, kind of like be there. It happened for me when I moved to New York. I didn't have any friends that skated, and I would say, like, right now I don't have a ton of friends that skated, but I know tons of skateboarders in New York City just from having been to the parks and the events. And, you know, you maybe like there's certain age groups and whatever, but you know, there's definitely spots that you know, you just become like a local at, and that's kind of like, that's kind of the nice thing I think now about skate parks, is that, you know, you can show up to a park and just, once you go a lot, then you're just like for me in the beginning when I was working in Union Square, my local park was LES, and LES can be an intimidating place. I would go at weird hours, but slowly but surely, I got to the point where I felt so comfortable at LES. It felt like I knew most of the people there. It felt like my own backyard. Like, I think that, like, the more, you know, if we're talking about skate park and confidence at skate parks, the more often you go and the more familiar with the places, the more you kind of loosen up and, like, you know people. And even if they're not like considered like your friends, they're still like your skate, you know, it's like that, those are people you know through skateboarding. So I got to the point where I went from being like kind of intimidated to going, because I didn't really know what was going on, to like showing up to a Harold Hunter Day with like hundreds of people and just snaking around and having a ball. So I would say that's the same thing, like just kind of like, you know, persistence. And then if you're going to the Urban Shredders camp, that's perfect, because then you're going to be in a group of you know, everyone. That's like the vibe we try to cultivate, is like the skate, like, you know, we're not going to force it, but like that we're all you know, kind of skating together, and we get that group energy together, so you'll be able to progress. Right. I said I was going to do axle stalls, and I feel like I should, Leah, especially if you're doing urban shutters and you're going to be at the place. So pay attention to this, because it's at Echo Conda. There's a lot of ramps. I'm gonna put you on this stack of skateboards over here. Okay, yeah, this is pretty good. All right, I'm gonna show you guys this view, just like this. So when you're doing an axle stall, and basically, let me do an axle stall first so you can see what I'm talking about. like I'm just kick turning at just the right moment and ending up on the coping and going back in. There's a few things that help when you're going up to keep in mind. So the first thing is, so you're doing a kick turn in this direction, so it's a backside kick turn, and then when you're going up, you're gonna kind of put your weight on your toes. Right? You put your weight on your back toe. You lock in. Once you're here, you put your weight on your heels. And then when you want to come back, so when you put your weight on your heels, that's how you really lock in. Otherwise, you're here and you're kind of on the inside of the ramp. On your heels, you're here. So you see the difference there? I'm on my heels, right? And now, like, I'm standing on the ramp. But if I want to go back into the ramp, then I'm going to twist in and push on my toes. That kind of helps to know is you're aiming with your back truck. You want to get your back truck up onto the coping, and then as you go up, you're not just waiting for the last second and then kick turning. You might actually give yourself a little oomph. Like as you go up, you kind of like lighten your weight, so you do like a little micro jump, and you're here, right? And then you go back in by pushing on the toe. And then what I was saying in the beginning was that sometimes like instead of just kick turning back in, it might feel more comfortable to go to tail. And the way to do that, so here I am in axle, and then I'm going to kick turn, but then as I kick turn out, so remember I said you kick turn and push down on your toe to go back into the ramp? What I'm going to do now, instead of pushing on my toe and aiming for the ramp, I'm going to kick turn and put all my weight on my heel, and I stay here, and it snaps down. So watch what I do. It's going to be kind of cool, right? 1, 2, 3. See? So that toe heel thing is really important. So if I do the toe, I'm going to go down. If I do the heel, I can stay up, right? And then you can go tail, and then you can do fun stuff. You can go tail, and then revert. You can also go up to like 5-0, like that. Or you can go 5-0. That just got banged up a little bit. That's all right. That's all right. I just let that happen because it didn't seem too bad. All right. So that was a. Sorry, I got to get rid of this thing. Later, remind me later. Ignore. Okay, getting reminders. So I was an axle stall to tail, axle to tail. A lot of fun stuff you can do with that. You can do it front side. You can do it back side. So there's crazy stuff going on outside with some kind of like giant truck getting towed. Always something interesting going on. Empire. Oh, my board is getting kind of crushed right now. Hold on, let me get it. Transition tricks are fun. Cool. So I think we're about out of time for tonight's show. I want to thank everyone for tuning in or checking it out afterwards. If you're this far in the program, that means you really hung out. So I appreciate that. Next week, summer camp starts, and we're doing curbside hours from 4 to 6. So I guess that means we'll be doing this at a different time, or maybe we'll have a special guest since everyone will be back here at SKATEYOGI. So check the announcements. We will we will let you guys know. But I don't think it would be at 5 because we're going to have our curb shop hours. Yeah, I hope you guys have a great 4th of July weekend, and I will see you next time. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Take care. All right. Later, guys.